I'm back. The Browns are back. Dub.
Welcome back,
Hello,
brother.
my friends. Did you miss me?
uh, well, safe travels. I'm glad you're back, buddy. And while you're away, we got a dub. We've closed the gap from 0-1 to 1-1, and coming into this home game against the Giants. Um, First of all, how do you feel about last week? Second of all, how do you feel about this week?
Well, this past week, we got a dub on the road against a solid, fake, all right,
Yeah, I
Jaguars.
don't, I don't know what the Jaguars are anymore.
I don't know, but a win's a win. You almost let it slip away, but you won. You showed a lot of fight, and the defense looked really good,
True.
except the last like three drives where they let them just walk down the field. Um, a lot of penalties again. Don't like that.
True.
Um, Deshaun Flowers, yes. Running game Flowers, Foreman, and Ford, the four boys. Um, Jerry Judy, ooh la la, only
Yeah.
a fifth round pick.
Judy's looking good,
Um,
man.
Elijah Moore, a pick swap. Ooh la la, looks solid. Um, R.I.P. David Bell's hip.
Yeah, yeah. Season-ending injury. Looked good
Sorry,
before then, but yeah.
sorry, lad. But you got the win. Um, you have a chance coming back home to totally redeem yourself against the New York Football Giants and Danny Dimes. Um, Not a very good football team, but I still think there's a lot of talent on that Giants team that can scare you on Sunday. Um, you
Especially
got Taylor
defense.
defense, not very good, but that
No.
front is phenomenal with
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and the newly acquired Brian Burns from the
Which is
Carolina Panthers.
questionable.
Oh, he's playing. He is playing. He's got to
I mean, I'm
play.
still whole. I'm having hope. All right.
He's like, oh, I get to go against James Hudson. Um, yes, I'm going to get my sack numbers up. So I think it's a very solid Giants team. I don't know if solid. Um, they're inconsistent. They're trending appropriately, as Kevin Stefanski would say. Um, but still, it's not showing. They invested into this team this offseason, but it's not showing yet. They're coming off an 0-2 two-game losing streak. They got their asses handed to them in the opener against the Vikings, and Sam Darnold went 13 of 13 to start the game. Um, you dropped like a 30-point spread on that game. And then you went to Washington against the Commandos, and you lost to Austin Seibert by 7 field goals
You
and
also didn't have
a
a
kicker.
kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
The Scottish Hammer had a kick.
there we
Good
go.
old, good old friend Jamie
Former
Gillan.
Brown.
But what was interesting about that Giants team was that the Commanders were able to move the ball decently, but um, they the Commanders were in the red zone 10 times in that game, and they forced a field goal each time.
Just couldn't get it
I
done.
mean, not 10 times because obviously it'd be like you
Yeah.
know 21, but it wasn't. Um, they were in the red zone for a good part of the game, and the Giants were able to force 3 points each time. Now, I'm not saying the Commanders are the next coming of the Kansas City Chiefs offensively, but they have some weapons to score some points. Austin Eckler had a good game for Washington. I really like Jalen Daniels. He can
Yeah.
really move, but their offense is really simplistic. So I wonder how that will look against a Browns offense that's still trying to like find its identity with this new Ken Dorsey offense. You got an offensive line that's struggling massively. The run game is starting to pick up a little bit. You have a couple injuries. You lost David Bell and Joku's out. Um, you're going to see a couple of new guys try to step up. Maybe we see a Cedric Tillman signing this week, or Jamari Thrash, or hell, even Kadarius Toney. Um, and then I guess the real big question mark, your favorite word, um, is Amari Cooper. Not a great start to the season for him. A fan favorite, hands down. Coming off a very controversial offseason. Um, but Amari's been targeted way too much to not have numbers showing. I believe he's only had 5 catches for 27 yards so far, and
Crazy.
He's been targeted like 18
Yeah. I
times.
mean, I think we can all point out those two and one in each game, massive throws that were dropped on his end. Obviously, with the Cowboys, one was a clear touchdown drop. And then last week, clear just drop, man. Like big play ability, big play would have happened. Um, but it just dropped it, man. Yeah, I don't really know to go from there. It could be just because he didn't kind of practice a ton. Maybe he's still learning the new system. I'm not sure what it is, but hopefully he kind of bounces back and starts to play much better this week because I think that threat of Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and Amari Cooper playing all really well is going to be freaking awesome if that works out all at the same time. So I'm really hoping that happens. And hey, man, Deontay Foreman played last week and looked really well. Why in week one was he, behind Pierre Strong, which is now injured and not going to play this week? Deontay Foreman looked solid, looked good, and although the stats don't really mention it, but two of his biggest plays from scrimmage were taken back by penalties, of course. One of them was by him, though, that face mask. But uh,
Such a bad call. I
I,
hate those penalties because they're not intentional. Like his hand there, they got.
yeah, for
There was
sure.
a penalty like that last night in the Jets Patriots game. So literally, Ramondre Stevenson's pinky literally got stuck in the dude's
Got
face,
caught in it. Yeah, I saw
and he
that.
got called for that, and it killed the drive.
But yeah, no. So I mean, yeah, I think in general, though, I think this week this matchup looks actually very interesting, right? Where I think in general the Giants are struggling. Um, but the last couple of years we've seen Daniel Jones just kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it, but suck. But then he has these games where he looks awesome. So you can't discount that. And I'm gonna go in prepared thinking like he's that guy that once or twice a year comes out and plays awesome. So I think if you go with that mindset and maybe you do get the sucky Daniel Jones, I'll be happy, right? But you never know. Like he could be that one time a year or that one playoff game and be very good on his feet and throwing. So yeah, I mean you never really know. Malik Neighbors has looked very, very good. He's definitely as advertised. Their running back situation isn't the best in the world, but Devin Singletary can make some flashes and hurt you if you don't properly prepare for him.
Same guy
He's
that hurt us in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean he's still good. Like after all these years, he's still a good back, and don't discount him for sure. So, I think they do have some guys, and if utilized properly, can definitely hurt us if we let it. So, the offense, I'm not really going to bat an eye at because, like I said, these guys are all professionals, and we've all seen a lot of these guys throughout the years actually play pretty solid. But there's also a lot of really new names that I think have a lot of high potential. So. Um, we'll see with that defense wise, like we said. Um, there's I don't think as a whole the defense is great, but there's some names in there that could get you. And um, you know, looking at that alone, that in general might be all they need. Who knows how the game plays out? But I think, like you mentioned, we need to have a good performance by Deshaun Watson, a good run game, and I think the cornerbacks to be locked down, and this defensive line to show up and really pressure this guy. Um, so, do you want to throw some cowtails out?
Yeah. So I think this one goes to the man that has been struggling. We already mentioned him, and it's Amari Cooper. The essential part of the offense. We need him to, even be average. Um, that this offense needs to be able to have an over the top threat that they can find a reliable receiver 15 yards down the field instead of these little dinks and dunks, which is not always the worst thing, but you need that threat that can, get in and behind these receivers, I mean, these defensive backs and zone coverage and beat people in man coverage. But Amari is someone that he's a professional. He is going to find a way. Um, I really have a hard time believing that this issue is going to go anywhere past week 3. Um, I think
Agree.
it's just more so like a chemistry thing. You're seeing a lot of things like this going on throughout the whole entire league. You're getting Deshaun back off of injury. That's that's a big deal. It's chemistry. And it's not like none of these guys have talent. Um, you've seen throughout the years, even when we first brought in Amari, we've been able to find ways to get him the ball with backup quarterbacks. There's no reason why Deshaun can't get him the ball. And when Deshaun was playing quarterback, guess who was the number one target on that offense? It wasn't David Njoku. It was Amari Cooper, for obvious reasons. Um, so I don't see why this would continue, um, other than you don't just turn 30 and you just slow down automatically. It,
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that. It's a gradual thing. It doesn't
perfect.
just happen. It's not like he's coming off an injury, or you know he's just not playing good, or he's just. I think it's going to click at some point, and this could be the game against a very iffy secondary of the New York Giants.
Sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Um, and I'm gonna give my cowtail out here to someone I kind of overfeed, if you say, but I'm gonna go with JOK again. I did this last week. I'm gonna go with JOK again because I think
He gets one every week, I swear.
he did. I mean, I think he
He
just
got one
deserved
week
it,
one
man.
for me.
Like I mean, he's so good. He's so good, and I think he's not talked about enough in general. Um, you see him get these tackles for losses. You see him get open field tackles and stop big plays. And I think with a guy with Daniel Jones that, has some speed and actually some athletic ability on the ground, where if they're going deep and he's looking to run, I think someone like him could really stop that threat and really make this team one-dimensional, as they kind of, in my opinion, already are. If you basically take out Daniel Jones's legs, which I haven't seen him run like a ton as of recent, but he still does.
He can beat you.
He could beat you. So I think JOK and you go back to when we drafted him. A big thing everyone kind of said was like this guy is gonna we're drafting him to basically stop Lamar Jackson in the open field. And to that point, he's kind of done a very good job at that. So I think having a JOK is going to be super super beneficial in a game like this where who the hell knows? He might just try to break off one of those long runs and JOK just stops him. So I'm going JOK for mine.
Okay. I think I'm going to break one up into two.
Okay.
Now, these guys
Doable.
might not play, but I have a feeling that they're going. One of them is a week to play, and that would be Jack Conklin and Jed Wills.
Okay.
Um, the Browns desperately need help at the tackle position. Um, I think James Hudson is a solid backup, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm saying a backup and that's it, man.
I mean, I personally think that Hudson would be a phenomenal guard if he ever had to fill in or take over that position for Teller or Batonio.
Yeah,
But
he's
that's
got the
neither
size
here.
for it.
There's neither here or there. I think the tackle position has been an issue. Um, Hudson's getting beat, and I think he's just out of position. Um, he's been better on the right side as much as these other guys have. Um, but I think like if you get Jed or Jack back on the left side, I think that's substantial for now
Yeah.
uh, to deal with these big time pass rushers because you face a really good pass rusher each week. You had Micah Parsons, then Josh Allen. You're getting Kayvon Thibodeau. Um, Brian Burns this week, and then next week you go to Vegas and you got Max Crosby.
Yeah.
So you got a long list of good pass rushers that you got coming up. Um, but I think you can really get this offense in a right swing if you are able to buy Deshaun a couple extra seconds and
Sure.
kind of minimize these holding penalties that seem to be coming from the same spot every week.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with that. And as it's trending right now, Jack Conklin, I think, is on his way to play this week. I
he's
have a,
practiced every day this week.
I've had a very good feeling that he is going to play this week. And I think last week he was like damn near a game time decision. You know what I mean? He was like right there. Let's give him another week though to make sure he's okay. Um, it's been over a year since his injury. Now I do think he'll play. I think he won't play the entire game, and he'll probably do some, on and off reps with Dewan. Um, but I think Jed's going to be out for another couple of weeks, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. So if Jed doesn't play this week, Jack can eat the whole thing. Um, so
Well,
so
one of
no,
the whole thing. Who cares?
yeah,
Someone just buy the dude some time. I want to see some sparks coming from this offense. Like, I'm not saying perfect game, but like this Browns offense needs to like gradually improve.
sure.
I understand it's not going to all happen at once. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it needs to progressively get better. And I think we're going to see that. Um, Specifically Deshaun. Um, I think we saw that a lot last year. And even this little six game span from when he came off the suspension, that we've seen little flashes and him progressively getting better. I felt like that first game against Dallas was kind of it's a wash. I
Yeah,
I
there
I
were so many bad things that happened in that game.
I feel like
You can you
that
can
quarterback in that position, we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, you can point the finger at a dozen other people as well.
Yeah, it
I mean,
it
did he
was
play good? I mean, no, I'm not defending him at all. But everyone played bad that game, so
it just the issue of that game was we came into this season with all eyes on Deshaun Watson. And the first glimpse we got to see of this Browns 2024 team was that game. So who are we all looking at? Deshaun when we get blown out at home. Well, there's so many things that can go on in that game that, you know, like you said, there's not really one person you can point your finger at in that game. Um, I'm not trying to be a sympathizer, but it's realistic. It's 11 man against 11 man on the field all at once. Um, so I have a hard time believing that it was just Deshaun having a tough game. Did he miss
Yeah.
throws? Did he miss reads? Yes. Um, but you know what? We've seen a drastic change in this Browns team from that game to the Jacksonville game.
And I'm
Um,
hoping it's another step in the right direction because if it
that
isn't,
bingo,
oh
bingo.
boy. If it's back down to that floor level that I think we hit in week one, I think we can have the whole different discussion next week. So,
Yeah, I
but yeah. So I think just kind of like next segment wise, what are your world donuts keys to the game? How you feel like what things that I think need to go right for us to win this game?
okay. So I think just to start off and just honestly just roll off of what we just said, and I feel like it's going to be a key to the game for you know most of the year is to get Deshaun comfortable, get him going early, let him get in a rhythm, and then you just let Deshaun play off of that. He's a very off schedule player where the play might not be there, but he's going to make a play. You gotta build his confidence up for him to
Yeah,
make plays like he did to Jerry Judy on the sideline,
what incredible
or
pass.
twice in that game, or finding Elijah Moore 20 yards down the field,
Yeah,
uh, breaking three tackles to make a throw like that. This is what we paid that money. We trade the picks for. Now I don't think he's the same guy as he was in Houston, but there is still a player that is more serviceable than anything we've had in number four. Um, and I think we have to do our part in making it work. I mean, at least the coaching staff has to do that to make that work. Um, so just keep it simple. Let him build off that. Let him get his confidence, and then we can see the fireworks from Deshaun.
I like that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, I think the second one for me here is, I mean, I'll say that defensive line just pressure the hell out of Daniel Jones. I think it's gonna be so important to pressure him all game long. We saw it happen last week with Trevor Lawrence. If the more pressure you get on him, the worse he plays. And Daniel Jones is one of those kind of guys as well. If you continue to pressure him, he's gonna make a lot of mistakes, probably throw an interception or two, and get sacked a ton. He's not great under pressure. So I think this defensive line needs to really step it up and have a great game and just really just knock out Daniel Jones. So they become reliant on the run game and he makes a lot of mistakes. And I think that's something that could be really easily happens if you just pressure him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Daniel Jones is a unique player in a unique situation. Um, I'm not going to say he's slept on, but he is a quarterback that gives you flashes, like you've talked about in the beginning of the video. Um, and I think the biggest threat he has is he's a very mobile quarterback that can beat you. And this is what I'm worried about. Um, and I'm gonna roll into the last key to the game with this here. Um, is the Browns play a lot of man coverage, and what comes with man coverage, and what most mobile quarterbacks can beat man coverage with is their legs. Um,
That's why I
there's
need
not a lot
JOK. That's why JOK got that cowtail.
exactly. Um, so that's something to really watch, and I'm worried about it because it's a very sneaky attribute to the Giants' offense, and it could give us a scare on Sunday. I'm not completely sold that the Browns are going to go into this game and just completely wipe the floor with the Giants. I am seeing the Giants at least cover the spread, which is at seven
Six and
point.
a, is it
It's at
six and a half,
7.
seven?
Yeah. Um, so I can see this definitely being tighter than it should be. Um, but to just roll over into the last key to the game, I think it is to stop the run. Um, just to build off limiting Daniel Jones with his legs. Um, the other part of this offense is Devin Singletary. Um, he had a very successful game against Washington. And if we all remember correctly, that awful playoff game in Houston, Singletary ate
He,
on the Browns defense.
yeah, he did.
And that's concerning. So is this a game where the Browns defense gets some payback on Devin Singletary? This is a
I hope
very
so.
solid, very solid New York Giants offensive line, probably the better one we've seen this season so far. Andrew Thomas is probably a top 10 left tackle in the league. They definitely spent a lot of money this offseason on two guards. Um, they're building up I'd say a pretty solid team. The Giants got question marks in their secondary at quarterback, but there's a lot of spots on this team that are kind of like they're locks, franchise locks, if that. Like I'm telling you, like you look at those three guys in the defensive line, they are probably number ones on any other team in this league. So to kind of just tailspin that into like a wrap up for this, the Giants, we can't take them for granted. We need to go into this game and just take care of business. Um, you have a very tough schedule. You need to build wins on top of each other. You got a kind of a tough stretch of road games where, this is your last home game for, until like the middle of October. Um, you got to take care of business here, get two in a row. Then you head over to Vegas. Then you're at Washington. And then you head over to Philly. And now, honestly, I don't see any of those three games being easy. Um,
No, I agree.
you gotta
We
get
also always play terrible against the Raiders, also,
yeah.
historically. We've
The
talked about
first
it
time
last time.
it's the first time we're playing in Vegas though, so that's
Interesting.
going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious how the fan base is going to be there. Vegas had already had a big Raiders fan base before they moved to Vegas, which I always thought was really cool. But Browns fans travel very well. You get a little more motivation because you're just jumping. You're getting out of the airport and boom, you're at Allegiant Stadium. You got casinos everywhere. You
Yeah.
have motivation to be in Vegas. Um, but yes, I think the Browns really need to.
I think we need this win.
They need this game.
They need
It's
this
not a
win.
must win, but it's a game you should win. And I feel
Yeah.
like if you lose, it's really going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And so it's like better if you win the game. It's not an easy
Yeah.
one to lose. It's
And
going to hurt.
and in a division right now where it's so tossed up in the air, where the Steelers are 2-0 and they're ahead of the division right now. We're in second place, and then we got the Ravens and the Bengals that are 0-2, and they got some tough games this weekend, man. So like I think if we win this game and say either one of those teams lose, like we're still a game ahead or maybe two games ahead of those teams, which is crazy to say. So even though the Giants are an NFC team, like having another game on top of a division opponent is going to be massive, even though it's not in the division. Stuff like that does play out well down the stretch of just
Yeah.
more wins.
I,
So um,
I
I think,
think
in my opinion, I said I don't think it's a must win, but I think we should win this game, and I feel like we should uh, take care of business on Sunday.
I think to really put this into perspective is of like just being a mature team and just taking care of business. Just look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've only scored one touchdown in 2 weeks,
That's crazy.
and they've had two games that you could argue the first one is a game they shouldn't have won, but they won. And then the game
Well, that's just the Steelers
last
for you.
at Denver, they should have won, and they honestly that was like one of the worst games I've ever watched. But um, they went in there and took care of business, even though
Yeah.
they won by like a field goal or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a lesson the Browns can learn from their rivals is no matter how bad things are, you got to be able to just go in there.
Yeah.
It
I don't.
it does not have to be pretty as
Yeah,
long as
I
you
don't
get
care
it
if this is
done.
the most boring game in the world. Like as long as we have a win, I
If
don't
we
really
win
care.
3-0, we win 3-0.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
because a win's a win. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. You need to win.
Yeah.
You could
Well, talking about wins, then, what's your prediction for this?
3-0 Brown.
Get out of here, dude.
Can you imagine if the Browns just
Open up your sports book, put in the bet 3-0.
the Brown? Can you imagine the Browns just going out the rest of the season, winning every game like 3-0, 6-0, like just field goals, 6-3, 9-3, 9-6. But
I mean,
regardless,
as long as we're winning, I don't really care. But at the same time, I'd like to see a little bit more out of the offense and defense.
I
But
think so.
so
I'll give
what?
I'll give you a prediction.
Okay,
I definitely got the Browns down as a win. Um, but it's going to be like a 20-16 kind of game. Um, like I said, I'm not sleeping on the Giants. I think that they will cover the spread, make it a 4-point game. They might only score a touchdown, but they're going to kick a shit ton of field goals. I feel like. Hopefully the Browns get. I'm hoping at 2 turnovers. Um, you really got to make these guys pay. They make a lot of mistakes.
capitalize on their mistakes for sure.
You have to make them pay, and hopefully this is the week that
Tim Isney.
yeah, we make them pay. But yeah, I'm on with the Browns again this week.
Love it. Love to hear it. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna go Browns here. I'm gonna go 24-17 Browns. Um, you know, I hope they can pull it off. I hope they can get this win. I feel relatively confident in it, but at the same time, it is the Browns, so I can never feel confident fully in anything that they do. So, but with this one, I gotta say, I mean, I really hope they win, but yeah, 24-17 Browns. I think is gonna win this game. So,
So you hit me with the juju because it is the Browns. The Browns is the Browns.
I mean, until I see it consistently, I can't, you know, I don't know. So, with that being said, though, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Till next week, go Browns.
Go Browns.